Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mark from Solo Games. Did you guys miss me? Hey, first of all, sorry about all the lack of videos in the last week or so. I uploaded a couple videos, but it's just been so busy. A lot of the videos I actually kind of like recorded earlier. I don't even have time to upload them. In fact, I did all of the box openings I have for my first case of Grand Archive, but I just haven't even got time to do that. So the reason for that is because I had a couple like family issues. Again, thank you for your concerns, but nothing big, no major issues, just a couple things that you just go sort through with my family. And of course, with Mother's Day and all the other stuff that happened, celebrating many generations of mothers in my family, just having a lot of things to do over the last week or so. But again, we're back to full capacity now. Solar Games back on, and we're going to be giving you a lot more videos. I don't know why I say we. All these content creators, we always say we, but it's just me behind the camera and me running all this stuff. Like, well, to be fair, I don't really have a crew or anything like that, but my friends do help me out sometimes. So shout outs to Foamy, and other people who help me out kind of behind the scenes here and there. Appreciate all of you guys just being there for me. Thank you so much. Okay, of course. Let's talk first MTG. Everyone's here for the MTG. This is my MTG channel, so let's talk about that. Okay, so market for Magic the Gathering is, I would say it's pretty calm, pretty stable. It's not really like everyone, going to hell or going to shit like it was during Commander Legends, Baldur's Gate, and other, times. But I wouldn't say it's like super healthy right now either. I definitely see a lot of cracks, and I think, one of the problems right now is once we go to the serialized card world, for example, if everything is serialized, any set that doesn't have serialization is going to go down. And then, of course, even with serialization, if every single set has serialized, I mean, unless you're going to go crazier with the serialization, like the one of one ring and that kind of stuff, it's also going to go down value. So you see the problem is like a lot of these things, you can't come back from it. This is kind of like power creep. Imagine, I think actually what a lot of the Wizards folks are doing nowadays is just money creep, like basically, or value creep. Because if they put more value into the box, then you're going to buy the boxes because it was better than the boxes prior. But then they have to put more value and more value and more value and essentially charge you more because otherwise, how are they going to keep getting more money? But the problem is there's a point we found out with Magic 30 that people don't really want to pay, right? $1,000 is too much. And so there is that limit, upper limit. But at the same time, though, we're looking at Commander Masters, and I feel like that set's going to do very well, even though it's like probably the most expensive thing I've ever seen Magic sell. It's like it's $500, guys. Like, I don't know who's buying this thing, but hey, look, it's there, right? All right, so look, right now, there are a lot of options for where I want to put my money, and honestly, the reality is, with all the things that WotC is doing, and with all the things that I see other companies doing, my kind of thinking is I start diversifying outside of the WotC, especially new product line right now. I'm not saying I'm not buying any new stuff at all. I'm definitely still storing, stockpiling, doing the general distribution and diversifying my asset thing. But I'm being a little bit more cautious and saying I'm not going to put all my eggs into Magic the Gathering because I don't think long term, at least right now, it's probably the smart thing to do, especially in the early phase. There's some buying opportunities, and we're going to talk about that later in this video for certain things, but most of the time you don't just want to jump in right away for like pre-orders anymore because as a store you get hit pretty hard doing things like that. Case in point is March of the Machines Aftermath. So Aftermath has come out and the general consensus is pretty negative. Like a lot of stores have product that they cannot sell, and when I'm scrolling through stores, websites and such, I see a lot of people dropping below cost on Aftermath now, at least below their distribution numbers, and they're just trying to get rid of inventory. And it's looking pretty bad because, again, this is what's going to happen, right? If you push a product and the product's not good, of course, on the backdrop, there's also all of this like negativity, Pinkerton stuff, all that stuff. I said it in my previous video, I'll say it again. I do not think that it's necessarily wrong that Wizard did what they did with respect to getting the boxes back. They probably panicked. Could they have done it more amicably? Probably. Could they have reached out to the gentleman directly first before they sent like the troops? Probably. But I will also tell you this, and this is true for everything, is that behind the scenes, there's a lot more that you don't understand than what you see on the surface. Is the gentleman 100% innocent? I don't know. And I'm not saying yes or no either way. But I do think it's suspicious that somebody who's been playing Magic for many years don't understand that the product is released way ahead of schedule and that he probably shouldn't be making a video about it. I mean, even I know that, and I have not played for many, many, many years of Magic, okay? So there's that. All right, guys. Going back to Magic a little bit, non-Pinkerton, non-MTA or MAT, Aftermath, whatever. Supply for everything. I know a lot of people have been talking about how like WotC has cut supply, cut whatever. That's not what I'm seeing. If you don't believe me, then you don't need to believe me. But what I'm seeing right now is I do see distribution prices for certain products are going higher. And I suspect that's because the prices that's being charged to them is also being a little bit raised a little bit as the sets kind of start phasing out a little bit. But collector's bundles, collector's editions, whatever, collector's booster packs are still available. Collector booster boxes are still available from distribution. Prices don't look crazy. I mean, they're not low, but they're not high either. And so I think it nets out pretty much the same as what you pay on TCG Player if you kind of go through distribution, pay taxes, and like it's probably like a small markup of maybe 5%, 10% type of thing when they sell it. I guess if you take in TCG Player fees, that stores might not even make anything. So it's really weird that they would even sell it at that price, but hey, it's not my decision. I don't run a store. I mean, I feel bad for stores, but at the same time, it's your economic decision. But what I'm trying to tell you is CEs are available. So whether they overprinted, underprinted, I'm not going to make comments about that because obviously I was not correct about Brothers War prices, but I suspect it's because the supply is being manipulated, not because there's actually just like less of it. I can still buy more Brothers War collector's boosters from distribution right now. What does that say? For a one-run product that's supposed to be limited and lower quantity, whatever. Same for like pretty much all the sets from last year. As far as I can tell, Dominator United until now, it's very available, but older products also are going to be very available as well. Looks like there's still a lot of MH2 stuff left over. Quite a bit of Infinity stuff, and of course, Baldur's Gate, all the same stuff. So there's that. Set, draft boosters, all of the entire suite of products, set, draft, and collectors. Of course, your PR kits and your bundles, actually, surprisingly, are fairly rare. Like usually you can't order bundles at this point because they're already sold out. And that's what I'm seeing from distribution anyways. Maybe the distributors just take less of those inventory up front. Maybe it's because they can't order any more from WotC because WotC actually ran out. Not this weird fake like, we have some, but you can only have a case kind of thing. Warhammer 40K, that last reprint that was promised is here. It does look like it's generally available and the price is not too bad. I'm probably going to stock up a couple more cases of this stuff and just kind of sit with it. I love the decks. I think it's great. I've been a Warhammer fan of the lore for many years. I would say even around the same time I got into like Magic and MTG Finance and all that stuff. I think it was like 2018. I started doing a lot of the Warhammer like lore stuff too. So I really like it. It's just things I like. So I'm going to store a couple of those decks. I believe in the product long term. I think it's one of the best Universes Beyond thing that they've done. I have choice words for the Doctor Who Universes Beyond collaboration coming up. I know there's a lot of Doctor Who fans and whatnot, but I'm telling you guys, like the more they do this, then the more they dilute this whole entire thing. And at this point, we have Lord of the Rings, we got Doctor Who, Transformers, Walking Dead. What is even Magic anymore? Do we have an identity anymore? I'm not sure. It's just kind of a weird situation right now. Old school Magic. In general, old school Magic is declining. I do still see a lot more of these guys coming into market with their collections. So personally, I purchased a large collection, which I shared on my channel. I think it was about a month back. Pretty large, fairly large collection. I'm in talks of 2 different large collections now, even bigger than the previous one. So there's going to be some stuff that's coming down the channel soon. Hopefully, everything lines up correctly, pricing, everything. But again, for even larger collections, I have to just take more time. I have to, meet the gentleman. It's like a little bit like not in the same state either. So it gets a little tricky. I have to like drive up and all that stuff, spend a couple days type of thing to audit the entire collection. It's just going to be a little bit more time before I can make a decision on those 2 things. So there's that. But what I'm seeing is that there are a lot more old school Magic available in the market now than there were probably last year and the year before even. I would say 2020, if this feels more like March to June of 2020, March to maybe September of 2020, where there were a lot of old school Magic being dumped on the market. I see that again. So if you like reserve list cards, if you like old school Magic, if you still believe in this game that there's a long-term, potential for the game, this might be a good time to get in on a couple collections type of things. There's a lot of them out there now. A couple of my friends actually picked up old school collections too. So I know they're out there. I know a lot of the older collectors are looking at the market, looking at what's happening, looking at WotC doing stupid things and saying, I'm going to get out before it gets too late. And of course, this is good money now. Who knows what it will be worth in 5 years, right? So maybe I'm the idiot still buying into this stuff, but I like it. I can't help it. I like Magic. I think the overall theme and types is what I'm looking for. So there's that. But this general weakness in Magic, right? Whether it be the stupid decisions around the Pinkertons, the release of March of the Machines Aftermath, really kind of ending this whole arc. I would say, look, Phyrexia All Be One, really great. Brothers War probably did super well. Dominator United, not bad. I mean, add a couple good cards. Aftermath, though, it's kind of like a really weak set, and I feel like WotC kind of knew this ahead of time. And they even said something like, come this quarter, we're not going to have a great quarter. I think part of the problem is Aftermath. March of the Machines, I think it did pretty well, and I think it will do pretty well long term. Aftermath, it's not going to do so well. Lord of the Rings, so far, what I'm seeing out of the market, I think it's going to hit the ball out of the park, guaranteed. I still think all the boxes are too expensive because, again, it's the same amount of cards. You're not getting more cards. It's just because they have to slap the Lord of the Rings branding on it. So now it's more expensive. It just feels really shitty as a player. Don't really like that. In general, I think Magic has a problem right now that they're having to fix. And I don't know. I mean, I can't tell if the general animosity and anger against March of the Machines Aftermath, and potentially a couple sets after this too, is a general apathy for the game kind of bleeding through, or they're actually saying this set is bad. I can't tell. But I can tell you that the general direction of WotC is looking not great, in my opinion, because just, again, I think it's them trying to do the right thing. I start seeing this a little bit, or at least trying things. I'm not sure if it's trying the right things, at least trying different things. But at the same time, they're kind of failing, right? They haven't figured out what that right path is yet. And the reality is that's given away to a lot of other kind of competing and challenger games. So let's start talking about those, right? So in this section, we're going to call other games. Basically, the three that's coming up real soon to challenge Magic, I would say. There's a lot of TCGs. We talked about that before. But really, there's only three that's realistically going to be a problem for Magic, I would say, in the current phase. New games. I'm not talking about Fab. Fab is doing well. Fab is fabulous. And everyone, that loves it, love it, right? But Lokana, Sorcery, and Grand Archive. I'm telling you guys, you cannot dismiss these three games. These three games they have good backing. They are all great in their own respect. But for today, I'm going to cover Lokana a little bit, and I'll cover Grand Archive a little bit because I understand those two a little bit more. Sorcery, I do still have to do my research, so I'll kind of update you guys on the topic once I see more things. But in general, everything's looking good. Sorcery, for example, right? Just real quick, prices are insane. The Kickstarter price to now, I mean, what I'm seeing sold listings on eBay, or at least what's being listed, it's an insane uptick. I don't know, it's because maybe some influencers like Rudy is kind of pumping Sorcery a lot, so it is helping to promote the game more to more general audiences, and everyone's kind of buying that FOMO, and I get it, but there's that, right? And I don't know a lot about Sorcery. I do think the artwork is kind of unique and reminiscent of Vampire Masquerade, that era, like the old school era. I can't say that word on YouTube, so the original name of that game by Richard Garfield, and of course Magic the Gathering has that really old school parchment paper type of feeling to it, which I love, right? And a lot of the OG artists for Magic, they paint this way too, so I really like it. I have no clue if the game is fun though, so I think that's actually really important. The third thing that's going to be important for a lot of these new games is going to be how they run the game, like whether the creators know what they're doing, both in the card quality, how collectible it is, all those little pieces. So there's that. Lorcana. Lorcana honestly surprised me. I didn't think Lorcana was going to do this well. It's insane. The pre-orders basically are sold out everywhere. I see a lot of stores putting them up, but as far as I can tell, unless the price is if the price is not ridiculous, it's already sold out almost everywhere. And of course, the pre-order prices are a pretty good premium to the pricing that they're going to get from distribution. But again, they're sold out. And I can tell you right now, Disney, through Lokana, whatever, they're doing the right thing. Is that they are making it so it's super strict through distribution only. They have like the minimum, advertised pricing policy type of things. Very limited through distribution type of channels. They are gripping that supply chain well. And they know that they're taking a test on this game. So of course the first set is going to be lower printed because they don't know what the market for this is going to be. So all these signs for the financial aspect of Lorcana looks good, okay? And if you happen to have gotten some of the pre-orders for Lorcana, the first set, great. However, now a lot of the prices have appreciated for a game that's not even released yet. So there's a lot of little cautionary tale I have to give you about. You have to understand whether this game's going to have legs or not long term. And no one can tell you if it will or not right now because it's just too new. We haven't seen any of the other support that comes with it. We haven't even seen the cards yet, right? We've seen a couple videos and things like that, but without really understanding what kind of effort they put into the cards and the quality, the collectability, the pricing, what Disney's going to do. Are they going to sell power creep, for example, right? If it's going to be a Pokemon thing where every set, or Yu-Gi-Oh, where every set replaces the set before, you can imagine things are not going to hold the price they do. So I have no clue what the creators are thinking, but again, so far, all signs of Lorcana is bullish. Who knows? Maybe it's just a bunch of scalpers buying all the boxes. No clue, but it is looking good, okay? But again, the foiling, I saw a couple of images and videos. Foiling's good. Guys, the cards look amazing. Personally, though, I'm just not really into Lorcana. I think it's kind of weird. I would watch Disney movies with my daughter, probably. And I do like Disney movies, even when I was a little kid. But I kind of don't want to play a card game around it. Like, I never had this urge to say, oh, I watched the Disney movies. I want to play a Disney-centered or oriented game, right? Like, I watched Game of Thrones, and I bought Game of Thrones, the board game. I thought it was great, right? I don't know. There's a couple of these things where I feel like I would want to play a game version of. Lorcana, Disney in general, like I don't really want to play Elsa. This is one of my reasons why I don't like Secret Lair. I mean, I love Street Fighter. I just don't really want to see like Chun-Li in a Commander game. It's just kind of weird. I don't, there's something weird about it. Maybe I'm just being, genreist. But yeah, I just don't think, for me personally, it does not appeal to me to see like Disney characters battling things out. Like I don't want to see Mickey Mouse fighting like Simba or something, right? Aladdin like going toe to toe with like Iron Man. It's kind of weird, right? So that's my issue with Lorcana in general. It just does not appeal to me as a game. Okay, so on to the last one. This one I actually have a lot more to say because I actually am fairly into this game now, is Grand Archive. So Grand Archive, if you guys have not heard about it, go check it out. I'm telling you right now, this game, I know what it sounds like right now. It sounds like I'm shilling or pushing a game, that kind of stuff. I'm telling you guys, Grand Archive has legs. The creators, the people behind this game, they do believe in it, and they have put a lot of effort into it. In fact, there's a lot of these little details that I thought were just kind of throwaway things, and we've kind of taken for granted or just accepted in Magic that they're fixing, right? For example, foiling. Not only are foils exciting to open again, they're kind of rare actually. There's only 3 a box of all, rarity. You're not going to just get a foil rare like, rare or mythic rare or whatever equivalents, right? They're also high quality. They don't curve like they don't like Pringle like the Magic cards. The card finishes are good. They're high quality paper. They're thick. They feel nice. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go buy a Grand Archive card. Look at the back of the card. You'll understand. The back of every single card in Grand Archive is texturized. And given that it's a back and they're going to have to keep that forever, that's going to be true forever. They're going to keep this texturization forever. That sounds like a lot of effort. And when they ask, like, why did you texturize the back? They just says, why not? Makes it have a premium feeling. Like, I love it. I think it's really, I can really appreciate people who appreciate these little details, right? But the more important thing to me is the gameplay. The gameplay is really good. Grand Archive is really, really good. And I can tell you right now, like, I'm not the only person who feel this way. A lot of my friends who are Magic players before, they love it. And on the other side, we have people like who showed up. So at our local LGS, right? The first event we ran, I think we had 6 people or 7 people, and it was just because of a new event. Honestly, I was kind of like the last person to join. I didn't even know what's going on. I brought like the starter deck or whatever and just played, right? And I had a lot of fun, but it was getting my ass kicked by everyone else kind of thing. Not really, but Of course, we run our second event this past weekend, so Saturday before Mother's Day, and we had 15 people. So we doubled, a little bit more than doubled our initial event in people showing up. And guess what happens when they showed up? I think they bought 2 more boxes from the store, right, total or something like that. A bunch of more decks were being sold. Why would a store not want to run events that sell like this? You have 16 people show up. They're going to buy 2 booster boxes and a bunch of starter decks. That sounds like, and probably like sleeves to kind of go along with all that stuff. That sounds like exactly the model that a store wants to have, right? And the gameplay, like as far as I was saying before, Magic players, super easy to pick up. It's translatable. And on the newer player side, I mean, you got like people who literally I was playing with who have never played card games, girls, okay? And they're like, oh, cool, I'll try Grand Archive. I don't know what magic these people have. Maybe they're printing like really cute characters, anime characters, and attracts girls. I don't know, man. But they like this game, okay? And this is amazing. I'm telling you right now, like this game has legs. If it can get people who are like enfranchised Magic players to play, right? I mean, my friends who play at tournaments for Pioneer, Modern, these kind of games, they play this game now, too, okay? Some of them are kind of replacing Magic with it or just taking a hiatus. And then we have new players who've never played any card game ever, right? Magic's been out for 30 years. They haven't played any TCGs until this game. So tell me what's happening right now. Is this one of those like video game revolution where girl streamers are kind of becoming a thing? Girl gamers are becoming a thing? I don't know. But maybe this is the game to do it. In general, I see a lot of positivity. I see a lot of like the community really kind of grouping around this. And financially, I can tell you right now, it's proving out correct. Why? Well, Grand Archive, ever since I think the first edition boxes were shipped and got to people's hands, whatever, the market is running super hot. I mean, so far we're looking at 200 to 600% appreciation on all first edition booster boxes. So those coveted first edition boxes. Part of it because the creators put collectability into first edition. So there's this very special card, right? Collector super rare, collector ultra rares in them. They have serialized cards in them too, right? But again, the serialized cards are of literally the most common thing. See, in Magic, when they serialize cards, right? Like think like what happened in March of Machines. They serialized like the best cards. You get a Shieldred, Elish Norn, etc. In Grand Archive, the serialized cards are basically the mana. They literally have a serialized swamp. So you're thinking like, why, right? But put it into their perspective. I mean, you're reaching out to this is the perfect way to do it. Make something that's collectible, that's very available to every other player. Everyone can get a copy of this card, but this card looks special, different, whatever, for the person who's willing to pay thousands of dollars for that card. I think it's a good plan, right? On the distribution side, Grand Archive does something really amazing. They have map pricing. Basically, it's minimum advertised pricing. They do limit all the stores, online, offline, everywhere, to sell at minimum at least at this price. And of course, after a month or so, they expire the map, and you can adjust your price however you want. But in general, the pricing is set so that they protect all the stores, so that no store feels like they have to undercut each other until if there's no profit left over at all. And of course, that drives makes stores feel more like pressure to go and kind of undercut each other. It's just a really good policy because it helps all the stores, right? So that all the stores can take some minimum amount of profits. What I'm seeing though, of course, is that, a lot of stores do go to map very quickly, but at the same time, as we're seeing with the Ultra Edition boxes, honestly, the stores that are selling a map, they sold out. So what do you think is going to happen? We're not going to get a restocked of Grand Archive Dawn of Ashes, the first set, until probably June, July, and all the stores are sold out. So prices have to go up. Speaking of Grand Archive, I am actually preparing because I talked to a lot of the patrons just to kind of gauge interest in general on Grand Archive. In general, there's quite a bit of interest even in my small amount of patrons around Grand Archive. So I am preparing a very cool Grand Archive bundle for patrons. look, the product is very limited right now. I cannot get my hands on enough, but I have acquired some for people. So I'm able to kind of share that at a pretty decent pricing to be determined. I have to look at the market and make sure everything looks correct for my finances too. Make sure that I'm not losing money giving these boxes away or something like that. But essentially, just to give you guys a sneak peek. And the other thing is I'm also kind of making sure I have enough product on hand to be able to just make sure all the patrons get something. But just a sneak peek at what we got, we're going to get some of these starter decks. So I have a couple cases more coming of these things, starter decks. We have, of course, the altered edition. Let me put this over here real quick. Altered edition booster boxes. So you can get your hands on a couple of these. I think we're going to make sure I have enough so that all the patrons can order, something. And also very special, I did get a couple of these Prelude. These are the Kickstarter exclusive Prelude starter decks. They do feature the decks with the dungeon guide, which is think of it like a Black Lotus type of thing, or Mana Acceleration, Soul Ring type of thing for Grand Archive. So very coveted card for sure. So that's a really nice little box there. Those boxes I think have already appreciated to, I think, over $100. So we'll see what I can offer. And I don't have a lot of them. So I'm going to see how many patrons really want it. And then we're going to figure out a price that makes sense for everybody. Yeah, so there's that. But yeah, coming soon. Likely that sale is going to drop in June. So if you're a patron, stay subscribed. If you're not a patron and you want to be part of the Grand Archive like Patreon, then let me know by just, locking in, becoming a patron. And then, of course, you're going to be able to have access to all the sales, including this month's sale. So on to the Patreon updates. So first of all, look, thank you to every single one of my patrons who have signed up so far. I really, really appreciate it because, again, it's giving me a path to provide more content and more of this stuff to you because it's giving me another alternative financial route than probably YouTube advertising or whatever else we have, right? And quick update is May special is now in effect, which basically includes that there are a couple options here. So for those that don't know, I just want to share real quick with the channel, or maybe you missed the posting, but you can purchase 30 set boosters of Fire Exia All Will Be One or March the Machines at $90. That includes shipping, everything included. And I'll throw in a bundle box, probably one of those the complete edition bundle boxes, so you can have something to store with the cards with. I also have Baldur's Gate draft and set boosters. We're selling those at $80 each. I don't think I'm gonna hold that price for long. I do plan on stocking up quite a bit of those products, so we may have those kind of just ongoing, but probably not at the $80 price point, maybe a little higher come, I don't know, next month or something like that. We'll see. And then we're going to, sell enough. And then whatever I want to hold for myself personally, we're going to sell until we get to that level. And then the rest is just mine. We're not going to be able to get any more. Dominator United Draft. I'm selling these at 92 each, but I'm going to see if I can get a better pricing. Right now, 92 is the current month special. But maybe next month we can do something and see if we can lower that price a little bit more for everyone. We'll see how many more cases I can actually get. This is the problem with how I source my product. And lastly, Complete Edition. I purchased quite a bit of this because I want to make sure patrons had enough of them, or I had enough on hand to be able to kind of give it out to all the patrons. But basically, looking at my inventory right now, of course, I want to keep some for myself, but this is the one item because it was the way I kicked off my Patreon. I wanted to make sure I had enough where all the patrons can have access to it, essentially for the entire patron. Even if I sell out, I keep nothing. I'm okay with that because that was the intent of this item. So I still have a couple more cases of this left, and that's going to be $110 each. So a case of 6 is going to be $660. Again, tax, shipping, all inclusive. So there's that. Looking at TCG Player, I think these are going for $130 now. I think the lowest listing is around there. I'm still keeping true to my patrons, $110 for everybody who wants to purchase now. Given that there is no reprint coming, I suspect these are going to go up in price. So if you want to buy it and then just sit on them for another couple years, hey, be my guest. You might actually make some money off of these things. So there's that. Cool. What's coming up next? Expect more set and draft boosters available coming into inventory. Again, I'm lining up all the sources, making sure I get enough. this is what I realized. Originally when I was doing my own singles, whatever, I could just order like 20, 30 boxes. I wouldn't have a problem. But now that I'm running a Patreon, it's really different because I have to get enough products for everybody, and that's not the same. So there's that. And in addition to the new set and draft boosters from Standard coming into inventory, I'm kind of working on right now some special Magic Gathering stuff for everybody. I think I'll just keep that under wraps for now, and then of course next month when I'm more ready to tell you more about it, I'll let you know what I have available. But it should be really cool stuff from last year, pretty high demand items that I think I'll be able to give a very good price over to everybody if you're willing to, if you want to check that out. Of course, like all this stuff, I'm still working with patrons on Discord, those kind of things to just chat about what kind of things would be of interest to you, what kind of items could I offer, at what price point would it be economically viable, something that you could actually would be of interest in, something nice that I can offer to everybody who supports me. So there's that. Yeah, and lastly, on the Patreon updates side, the monthly patron video will be coming probably next month. I'm prepping it this month to do one release next month, so bear with me. A lot of the things I thought would be easy when starting this whole Patreon thing and starting the community with this Discord and all that stuff, it's actually taking a lot more time than I previously thought. And of course, recently with me busy with family and me actually pretty busy with my day-to-day 9-to-5 job, it's gotten a little harder to get these things done the way I kind of originally envisioned. But again, it's still on the dock. And with respect to the patrons, thank you guys so much for all of the questions I got for the Patreon video, or recommendations, I guess. They're all so great that originally I was going to put this up on Discord for a vote for everyone to go say, hey, we want to see this video or not. I'm just going to do all of them because I think all of them are really great. And we don't, there's like, I think total maybe 4 or 5 suggestions anyways. So we're just going to do all of them. We don't need to vote over which one. So everyone's going to get their video, but just be patient. It's going to take a little bit of time before I get through all of them, but you're going to get the video whether or not it is marked as the patron special video type of thing, right? So there's that. Okay. Lastly, for everybody else, who is not part of the Patreon, who's, just kind of joining new for the channel, obviously stay in touch. So how do you do that? Join our community on Discord. Links in below. Patreon links are also below. But basically join our community completely free on Discord. Chat about stuff. I drop deal alerts there all the time. In fact, oftentimes I'll just drop arena codes. I still have quite a bit of arena codes left over, so I'm just going to drop them out there so everyone can kind of use them. These are all going to be freebies of just being on the Discord. It really doesn't cost you anything. So put a little notification on the deal alerts or something. Oftentimes if I see anything on Amazon, on TCG Player that just seems like a good deal, I'm also going to share those kind of links to you as well. Okay. The AMA. So thank you guys all for the questions. Man, there were so many questions. Originally I was going to do this is a section of questions that are about finance, whatever. There were so many questions. So it's taking me a little bit more time to compile it all, but I've also decided to answer every single question. Instead of doing, these 3 questions are the same, I'm gonna answer all of them. So we're gonna go one by one. It might be a, hour-long video. Maybe I'll cut it in half, but it's gonna come. So there's that. However, that does mean all of the Solar Games AMA questions submissions at this point are closed. There are no more questions. If you hashtag SLG AMA, I will not be answering it from what I've already captured. So if you already asked before, it's in there. If you ask now, it will not be part of the AMA. But that does not mean that I will not have a new AMA coming up soon. So I don't know how soon is, but I'm thinking something like we'll do another AMA maybe at 6,666 subscribers. So kind of look forward to that. It's gonna be a while, right? So we hit 333 recently. We're gonna have to double that. So I'm thinking probably we'll do another AMA next year. Should be okay, right? So let's do that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for the support. I love it. More Magic Gathering news, more GA stuff coming on the channel. Guys, just I hear it. It's really tough out there right now, and I know a lot of people are, jobs, whatever, security, these kind of things are present. My recommendation to you is this, if you love these card games, you love these things, then just, buy what you want to play, again, remember, cardboard is a luxury good. Do not take it as like a necessity. Do not spend your last dollar on this thing. It's not for that. But if you have excess money, if you have extra whatever, you know, in the last 2 years of me kind of doing the investing in old school reserve lists or even sealed products, you know, all the stuff that people said it's going to go to zero, whatever, it hasn't really failed me. I mean, there are some bad decisions I made around like Flesh and Blood, especially, I mean, you know, I'm more mad. I'm not as mad that I opened my first edition Welcome to the Wraith because, you know, nobody knew. I'm more mad that I was gullible enough to purchase a ton of Tales of Aria and not think through the fact that, you know, why are there so many first editions available, you know, before kind of think about the print run kind of thing. So again, life is about learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. And these mistakes, they may hurt you financially, they may hurt you whatever, but just think about it this way. Like, if all it did was hurt you financially, but it taught you a valuable lesson for you to figure out how to move forward, I think you learned something. And here's the thing, I'm going to be holding those Tales of Aria first editions for a long time. Heavy bags, right? But the reality is, I still like Flesh and Blood. I think it's a cool game. Worst case scenario, if my child grows up and she wants to go play Flesh and Blood at some point, yeah, we bust open those Tales of Aria first editions. Maybe we crack a couple like Majestic Rares or whatever in cold foil. And then we still play sealed or build decks or whatever. I think it's fine. And that's the thing. Like, it brings me joy to have these things rather than versus not having them. So that's fine. And look, in the long run, in long scheme of things, these things won't even feel like anything. Yeah, I paid like what I think the highest I paid for Tales of Aria were like $150 for a first edition booster box, right? And you guys all know, if you look on TCG Player, I'm down I'm underwater half of that because I think it's like $70 for a first edition now. It is what it is, right? And you make mistakes, you win some here, you lose some there. It's okay. But again, what's not okay is you make these mistakes and don't learn anything from it. You have to learn. You have to be a better person every day. So I'll just end on this, right? I remember watching Kingsman, and I really love the quote that, you know, the guy, I forgot what the main guy, the main character said to Ezio, the younger kid he's training. He says, you know, a gentleman, oh man, you know, I'm going to butcher this now. Now that I'm trying to do this on camera, I'm going to butcher it. There is no honor in being better than your fellow men. True honor is in being better than your former self. And that's, I think, very, very powerful. I don't try to go out there and compete with everybody else because I don't think it matters. What I care about is being better than myself every day. So I push myself super hard to be the ideal person that I want to be. And that's all that matters. So there you go. All right, Mark's Solo Games, May update. Sorry to end on a more somber note, but I hope that's helpful for some people. I know a lot of times I make these kind of comments, and the comments I get on the channel are like, wow, thank you so much for saying that. I really need to hear it. I really appreciate that, and I hope every word I say out there will help someone. Even if I make this video and only one person watches it, and that one person says, hey man, this really, you know, hit home for me or gave me an idea, whatever, that makes it worth it for me, really. So anyways, Mark Solo Games, I'll see you next time. Stay classy.